Hey guys, welcome to this week's review of Real Housewives of Potomac. So, the episode starts off where it did last week, like always, right? They're at the table, Giselle and Karen are going at it, right? And the irony, right? Giselle's saying, "Oh, I want Ray to live because he needs to pay his taxes." And then lo and behold, it just comes out that Jamal owes what, like almost $1 million in back taxes. And those years that he owes taxes on have been years that him and Giselle have been together. So, I believe, I can't remember the years that he owes taxes, but some of those years he was with Giselle. And even if he wasn't with Giselle during those years, I mean, they were just dating last year. Like, the hypocrisy. And I remember even Robin, she didn't pay her taxes. So it's just so funny. Like, life is so funny. Karma's a bitch. It has come back around to her. Back around. That's why you shouldn't. Listen, you can kiki and say what you have to say about people, but there is a line, right? You should have a certain level of empathy because you never know what can happen to you, right? The same thing can happen right back and it can hit you right in the ass. Like, it was just so hilarious, her saying, "Oh, I want Ray to pay his taxes." Well, what about Jamal? And there's a lot of things I would like Jamal to stop doing, but you know what? We don't have the time. I'm not gonna say it. She's not with the guy anymore. We're gonna get more into Giselle, right? But we'll just put a pin on it there. I agree with Wendy though when she said that, listen, Giselle was not wishing death on Ray, and I also believe that she was not wishing death on Ray. And let's be real, Ray dissed her first, so she was just getting back at him. He was basically saying, "Look, you're getting old." And you're not gonna be that attractive. And if you're not that attractive physically, then you ain't gonna get anybody. That was rude, first of all. Like, who is Ray to tell Giselle anything on that matter? So she just basically said, all this going over here, like, don't worry, I will still look good when you're, 6 feet under. Was that a little harsh? Yes, that was rude, right? If Karen said Giselle was rude, fine. But she did not wish death on him, okay? I mean, Ray is what? Almost 80 years old? Giselle is in her 50s. I mean, anybody can go at any time, but let's do the math, okay? She's not wishing death on anybody. She's just, I don't want to say she's speaking facts, but she's speaking statistics, right? So it is what it is. I don't know why Karen has brought that thing. I think she's trying to take down Giselle. She hates Giselle and the feeling is mutual between them, and she thinks, "Oh, if I say that she was wishing death on Ray, the audience is going to turn on her and that's going to get her some sort of sympathy." I don't know. It's like her saying that, didn't she say Candace wished death on her because Candace said go to hell? So Karen went to the network and said, "Oh, Candace is threatening my life," which is absolutely ridiculous, right? Is telling somebody to go to hell, is it rude? Yes, telling someone to go to hell is rude, is a bit harsh, but let's be real, that's not threatening to kill somebody. Now, if she said, "I'm going to send you to hell," that would be a threat, okay? But telling someone to go to hell, it's a phrase, right? That's what people say when they're upset with you. She's not literally threatening you. So Karen does have a habit of twisting and manipulating words, right? And that's why I like Karen, but I can't get too into her. And the same thing goes with Giselle. But like I said, we're gonna come back to Giselle. I'm really glad that Candace broke it down the way she did. Candace, I won't say Candace is echoing the audience, because I feel like people are pretty like team A or team B. A lot of people aren't really neutral when it comes to these things, but I'm neutral when it comes to both of them. I think they're the same side, or what is it? They're a different side of the same coin, right? They both come after each other. They both said nasty things to each other, right? Giselle, I think Karen has done little teeny weeny things to Giselle, but when Giselle did that tax thing, I think Giselle just went overboard. And when she was like, her and Robin, they were, and Ashley was absolutely terrible to Karen. You know, when they were trying to figure out if Karen really lived in the house she was renting and all that, they really did entirely too much. But in my opinion, Karen, you got Giselle back at the last reunion, right? Like, even all of last season, like, Karen was pretty nasty to Giselle. And I'm not saying that Giselle doesn't deserve it, right? But you can't, if you fight fire with fire, you can't turn around and ask for an apology, right? At this point, both of y'all said so much terrible shit. You've done terrible shit, right? I think low-key, Karen helped to break up two relationships of Giselle. I think you guys are even. So let's just, I mean, of course they're not going to move on. I mean, I'm entertained by them, but it is quite ridiculous for either one of them to expect an apology. And I will say this in Giselle's defense, right? After Giselle was terrible to Karen, right? After she lost her parents and everything, Giselle did apologize, right? Face to face. Giselle did try to make amends? Amends. Giselle did try to make amends for what she did. Was it sincere? Personally, I didn't think it was so sincere. I just felt like because she got so much backlash and maybe she realized that she pushed things a little too far, that's why she was apologizing. But she did give Karen something. Now, if I was Karen, I still wouldn't have accepted that apology, right? But at least Giselle had gave her something. Karen has never really apologized, from my memory, of the things that she's done. Now, she sent a group text apologizing to the group, but that's not the same as sitting someone down one on one and apologizing. And that's what I feel about this Ray thing. I feel like Karen is just picking something random that she could be mad about Giselle for. She can make whatever, you know what I mean, right? She's just picking something to be mad about so that she doesn't have to apologize to Giselle for what happened in the last reunion, right? It's like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to apologize because you said this." And it's whatever. They don't owe each other an apology. We'll see how it works out. Okay? By the end of the season. I doubt they're gonna come together, right? Because this show is definitely, they're the two anchors, right? And it's kind of like they're opposing forces. So it's like they kind of have to not get along. So Wendy, Karen, and Escala, they go to the cottage, right? Giselle, Candace, Robin, and Mia are staying in the estate, of course, and they're in the and the others are in the servant quarters, right? Um, is that shady? Yes, but then I can understand there are limitations when it comes to space. But I think, like I said before, I don't understand why Candace decided to have Wendy in the service, the servants' quarters, and have Mia in the main house. Like, Candace, I thought you and Wendy were best buds. So, and Mia and Karen are friends. So I don't know why she did that, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, the cottage, yes, is it a bit smaller or a lot a bit smaller? Yeah, but it's still a nice place. So it's a little bit of fun shade, but what can you do? It was funny when, Karen and Escala and Wendy are trying to get the suitcase up the stairs, and then they cut to a scene with Giselle telling, I guess I don't know what he is. He's the estate's little helper, and she's like, "Okay, can you help me carry my bags up the steps?" And she's getting assistance and he's carrying it up, A small little old man, but he's carrying that bag up the stairs, and everything is easy breezy. And then you fast forward to Karen and Wendy and Escala struggling to carry one bag up the stairs. So that was pretty funny. So they're at the dinner table and yada yada yada. And here's the thing about Giselle, right? When I was watching the scene at dinner, I was like, yes, Giselle. Giselle was reading everybody. And I was like, this is why Giselle is here, right? This is why Giselle is here. She asks the questions that the audience wants to know. She's straightforward and she doesn't BS. Now, does that make her a good friend? Hell no. Hell no. I would not want this Giselle we're seeing on television. I don't know if she's like that in real life, but this Giselle I'm seeing on television, no way would I want her as a friend. No way, right? In real life, no. But for the show, yes, right? Because she just has no shame. While the other ladies, they'll make faces, they'll turn up their mouth, they'll look to the side, they'll make shady comments in their confessionals, but they're not straight up. And I'm sorry, I'm going to bring up Beverly Hills, right? With Beverly Hills, I just get so annoyed with them, especially this season with Erica and all the things she has going on. It's like, you've been gifted with such an interesting storyline, okay? Right? So interesting. And it should be very entertaining to watch, right? It should be. And I'm not saying I'm not enjoying the season. The issue that I'm having though is like everybody's kind of afraid to speak their minds. And it would be nice if they had a Giselle there, or hell, if they had a Kenya, or if they had a Ramona, like somebody who kind of just speaks their mind and says whatever they need to say, and if something doesn't seem right to them, they can just say it, and they're not overly concerned about what everybody else thinks about them, right? Now, these people on these shows can be one of the worst people, right? They can be really annoying, they can be really rude, but there are times when you need them. You need somebody to just call shit out. And Beverly Hills is missing that for me. And that's what makes it kind of annoying to watch at times. So Giselle's good for the show, but boy is she terrible. So she calls out Wendy. And I just think, like, with Wendy, because her mom was so hypercritical of her and had these expectations of her, maybe she didn't really get a chance to explore who she is as a person, right? Yeah, she has these 4 degrees, but I think Wendy wants to do something different. So I just think she's in that awkward phase where she's trying to figure it out. That's just what it is. Now I can understand if you just met this person last year and they were one way last year and then now they seem completely different, but that's life, right? We also been through COVID and everything. That changes things. So people change. And if someone is your friend, you may not like everything that they're doing, but you have to give them that space to be them. Because, like, okay, so she's wearing clothes that you don't like. Fine, right? I just think Wendy will figure it out, right? She will figure it out. But I also can't blame Giselle and Robin for bringing it up. I mean, if that's how they felt, and to be honest, that's how the audience felt, then I do think Wendy should address it at the end of the day. But to kind of say she has no substance, like the Wendy before has substance and now she doesn't, that's a little bit harsh to me, right? It was a bit too much. I think you could have worded it a bit better, Giselle. That was just super harsh. Now, also, well, let's go on to, because Candace talks about her situation at the dinner table as well. I mean, Candace and her husband being a manager, her manager or husbander. Now she is saying she doesn't pay Chris. I was under the impression that Chris would get a percentage of what she makes, but at the same time, I can understand that if you're married, then I guess what happens, Candace's money, all the money that Candace's makes goes towards paying the mortgage and maintaining the household and paying all the bills. And Chris kind of cooks and stays at home and organize her schedule. Candace did say the roles are reversed. For me, I'm not that person that's like, okay, a woman got to do this and a man has got to do that. For me, even if it was the other way around, I don't think it's a good setup if the woman was a man's manager either, right? I don't think, for me personally, I don't think it works either way. And the lines start to get really blurred. And I do think in this situation, Giselle kind of handled Candace pretty well. And Candace, who definitely has had a history of kind of going off and being, really emotional if anybody had really came for her. She handled this situation really well with Giselle and the other ladies speaking on her relationship. But I think that because Giselle knows how Candace was, she wasn't as harsh as she was on Wendy or as she was on Robin. But that she was still able to say what she had to say. And I think it showed growth in both Giselle and Candace in how they had that conversation. So kudos to the both of them. I I agree with Giselle 100% on this. I just feel like there needs to be some division in work and home life. And when your husband is your manager, especially when you're in the entertainment business, it's not like you're going into a 9 to 5, right? Where you guys are working with each other in a 9 to 5 job and then you guys come home, right? That would still have its challenges, but there are clear lines and borders from work and home life. But in entertainment, right, and freelance work, it just never ends. There's no clear border between work and home. You can work from home. You may, like, there's no separation. And it's like, you, I just don't see how that's healthy. I mean, we've seen iterations of this so many times before, and it just doesn't work. But at the end of the day, I mean, that's what Candace wants to do. I mean, is Chris the best option in the world for her? I don't know. He was an older man. He has 3 other children, 2 baby mamas. Fill in the rest. I think Candace already made her decision. But if I'm just looking at the stats, if you're just writing everything down on paper and I'm reading this and you ask me, do you think this is going to work out? I'm going to say no. But I can also understand when you're in that relationship and you're in that situation, you may have your rose-colored glasses on. You think that love is stronger than all these things and that it's going to work out. And who knows, right? I can't predict the future, right? I can make assumptions. I can make, hypothesis. But who knows? This could work for her. And if she's okay with that dynamic, maybe she does want to be the star and do all these things, right? Maybe if she had a partner that had his own career, she wouldn't be able to have the freedom that she does in her own career now. I don't know. So maybe this works for her, right? And he gets to focus on her and lift her up. But I don't know how that's healthy for him when all of his identity is being poured into her. And I don't know if that's healthy for her, because he's only seeing her as a product, right? As something he has to push in order to maintain the household. And it's like, when do they have that moment to be husband and wife and be that emotional support? Like, if she had a tough day on set or something, could she really go to him and vent? Or is he gonna have his manager hat on and kind of tell her, well, you need to do this and you need to do that, instead of showing her that emotional support? So good luck to them. Giselle and Robin. Giselle is wrong again, right? I think that Ascala handled this situation right? Because when Robin was describing herself having a hard time getting out of bed, Ascala said, you know what? This seems like depression to me, right? And maybe you should talk to somebody. Maybe you should get help because you are going through something. When all Giselle was talking about is Juan, Juan, Juan. What did Juan think, right? Oh, Juan thinks you're unattractive. That's not good. Is that why he's not wanting to marry you? Your friend is telling you that they're going through a hard time and you're focusing on their man? Giselle. Giselle. Now, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this, but I feel like Giselle has a little thing for Juan, right? So now we have Giselle, we have Michael, and of course Robin. All three of them have a thing for Juan, right? And Juan is a handsome man, but his personality, not for me, right? But maybe that's because he's not happy with Robin. I don't know. I'm not gonna speak on that relationship because that relationship is a little bit weird to me. But Giselle, like, and I don't know. I mean, it kind of explains the issues that Giselle has, right? I feel like Giselle is too focused on men and what they think, and because of that, she probably hasn't made the best decisions in her life. So, of course, when it comes to Robin, I mean, of course she's going to be focused on Juan. That was ridiculous to me. So, what else happened? Okay, so Ascala, I'm liking Ascala, right? We got to see more of her this episode, right? She called out Giselle because Giselle was going around the table very opinionated about everybody else, right? I think Giselle maybe got 1.5 out of 3 right, but she was reading everybody at the table. So Ascala was like, how about you? You were in a relationship with Jamal. How is that working out? Are you guys still together? And then, of course, Giselle was like, I'm not going to talk about it because there's a troll sitting at the table. This is the thing with Giselle. And I feel like Karen is also the same way. And that's why they're different sides of the same coin. I think Giselle plays the villain and Karen plays the mother figure, right? They're kind of like good cop, bad cop, right? Karen is the nurturing one, the encouraging one, and Giselle is the one that's gonna read you, right? And ask you all the questions and get the tea. But for the both of them, I just feel like they're not really open and honest when it comes to their own life. Like, they're really guarded and they like to put up a front. And at this point, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't expect Giselle to open up much about her life, and I don't expect Karen to open up about her life. But I do feel like they are necessary to the show, but both of them, I feel like, focus more on the other ladies and what's going on with them instead of sharing what they have going on, right? Like, I was actually pretty impressed with Robin, I have to say, because she really did open up about what's going on in her life. And did that make Robin look good? No, it didn't make Robin look good, right? She could have kept that to herself, but she said it. So I can have respect for Robin because, yes, is she in other people's business? She is, right? But she's also willing to share a bit of herself. And I can respect that. But Giselle, That's the annoying thing about her. You're talking about everybody else. You have strong opinions about everybody. But when it comes to you, because Karen's at the table, you don't want to talk about Jamal? That's absolutely ridiculous to me. Because Robin opened up about her life and her relationship with Juan, and Karen was there. Do you know how many times Karen made comments about Juan and whether she was getting married, right? And dissing her in her relationships? Candace and Karen don't get along, but Candace opened up about her relationship, right? She hasn't always had great relationship with you, Giselle, because you guys have commented about her mother paying for everything and da 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 da. Like, mostly everybody at that table, of course beside Mia and Ascala, has had some sort of beef or issue, but they're still able to open up to the group, because at the end of the day, it's not really about opening up to the group, right? It's about opening up to the audience. When the other ladies are asking questions about what's going on in each other's lives, it's not so much so that they can know what's going on, it's for us, the audience, to know what's going on. And I just feel like that's BS. That's a cop out, because what is there to really talk about it? Like, if you and Jamal are no longer together, then you and Jamal are no longer together, right? If you guys truly broke up because of COVID, yeah, freaking right. But if that's the reason, then you should have no issue saying that with Karen there. Because guess what? Karen is gonna make her sneak disses whether you say shit in front of her or you don't. Karen is going to have an opinion. Karen's been having an opinion about you, and you've been talking crap about her. So I don't know what's the big secret that you can't say that we broke up. I mean, she's going to find out anyways. So it's just that, they're the same. They want to kind of guard their storyline and their things so heavily, but be so invested in everybody else. But the redeeming quality about Karen, she does play the good cop, right? And she doesn't talk crap about the other ladies, just about Giselle. So if Karen wants to be a little bit snooty, right, and a little bit tight-lipped, I think the group can accept that. But with Giselle, it's just annoying. I just wish she was a little bit, like, she just own it, your stuff a little bit more. So the next day, Karen and Wendy have a scene, and this scene made me really feel for Wendy, because Wendy opens up to Karen about how what Giselle said to her about her having no substance really hurt her, right? And Karen, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about Karen's advice, right? Because one part of me, I can totally understand what Karen is saying, because I do think that Giselle, I don't know about Giselle, right? It's like I have mixed feelings with Giselle. I do think Giselle does speak some truth, but I do think that truth comes from insecurity, right? I do think she does get off on being superior and putting people down, right? Now, she may not be lying with what she's saying, right? But I don't think it comes from a sincere place. I don't think she delivers it with care. She just delivers it callously, right? So Karen is just saying, "Listen, Wendy, she's just trying to bring you down. Don't you cry in front of her. Don't you show her that you're hurt. Cry now, and then when you know you meet her, you act strong. You do what you're doing. Don't change the way you're dressing just because Giselle said something," right? Part of me, I'm sorry, I know I'm gonna say this. Part of me feels like the reason Karen said that is because she doesn't like Giselle. So I don't know, a part of me just feels like even though it sounds like good advice, the same thing I can say with Karen. It doesn't, to me, I don't feel like it's coming from a genuine place. I think she's saying that because she doesn't like Giselle, and she's just trying to undermine her, and she's kind of sowing a seed for there to be beef between the both of them. Now, I mean, listen, Karen doesn't need to help that because Giselle can do that all on her own, right? So it's like I don't feel like Karen gave bad advice, but I feel like it's coming from a place of you're trying to take down Giselle. I don't know. I don't know why Karen just comes off as inauthentic to me, because the season before, she didn't even want Wendy on the show, right? She was dissing Wendy, saying, "Oh, she's not the type of lady that is appropriate for the show." Like, she was judging Wendy based on her looks and who she was before. Now she's coming to Wendy being like, "Don't let Giselle judge you and tear you down." And it's like, it sounds great and I want to believe it, but I don't know. Karen's not so sincere to me. And a part of me, now this may not be the right thing. I can totally understand that. I get Karen's advice. But I feel like if someone's hurt, then let them be hurt. Why should they pretend that they're not hurt if they're hurt? That's how I feel. Like, if Wendy came to Giselle in that moment and had those tears, I don't know what Giselle would do. A part of me feels like Giselle would maybe be empathetic to her in that moment, but who knows, right? I just wish that Wendy, it's great that she had that moment with Karen, but I feel like Wendy should also be able to express how she feels to Giselle. Like, if someone hurts your feelings, right, and this person is supposed to be your friend, and you're working on a relationship with them, you should be able to express to them how you feel. Now, that doesn't mean that you need that person to validate your feelings, right? Like, if Giselle was like, "Oh, you're just being sensitive and da 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 da," then at that point, F Giselle, right? Who cares, right? You feel hurt, you feel hurt. You don't need that person to validate your feelings. You don't need that person to make you feel better, but that's how you feel. I think this whole kind of burying it deep and putting on this persona like everything is fine, on the surface, I guess that seems okay, but I don't know. It just feels like a surface fix, and you're not really dealing with the real issues, and that same energy just builds and builds and carries over, where if you just addressed it at the beginning, maybe there's a chance there could be some healing and you guys can move forward. I don't think Wendy should change up the way she dresses because someone doesn't like it. I don't at all. But at the same time, if this is who you are and this is what you want to do, you should still be able to have that conversation, right? It's like totally understandable if someone that you thought you were building a relationship tells you that you have no substance. Like, that's completely understandable why you should be upset. And I don't think you should try to like suppress that feeling or feel like you're being weak or you gotta be strong and da 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 da. Like, no. Now I'm gonna be real with you, and maybe this is where Karen is coming from. If this was like a normal person, right, you could have that conversation. Let's be real, a normal person would not tell you you don't got substance, right? They wouldn't be so harsh. So it's like someone with Giselle, I don't think you can really reason with. But low key, I feel like maybe I'm wrong. If Wendy came to Giselle and she was crying, I don't think Giselle would jump on her and be even harder, right? Maybe they would have even had a heart to heart. But when you start yelling and cussing people out, it's just easier for people to kind of meet you at that level. And or they kind of maybe can look at you crazy, like you're overreacting, right? Like they do crap to you, but then when you react, they're looking at you like you're crazy and you're this and you're that. So we're gonna see next week's episode, because Messy Ashley, she's back. She gave birth to the baby, and now she's back to Messy Ashley. She brings the rumor to the table about, you know, Eddie cheating on her. One thing that all the ladies have said consistently is that they don't believe the rumor, right? Robin, Giselle, Ashley, they all don't believe it, but they're attributing that rumor to her change in behavior. And even if it's not true, right? I can imagine, even if it's not true, for rumors like that to be out definitely does affect your marriage, right? Not affect your marriage, but like it would be some conversation. Like, if there's rumors out there about your husband cheating on you and having a side baby, are you telling me you guys are not going to have a conversation? Are you telling me you're not going to be like, so, is this true? I heard so and so and so. Like, that's going to cause issues in your relationship, right? Even if it's a completely false, right? That's going to cause issues. So, of course, she probably is affected by that, right? And I don't know. I just feel like maybe in this situation, if Wendy kind of just got ahead of the issue and just spoke, I don't know how it's going to play out, right? But none of the ladies believe this, so they say. But of course, they're bringing it up because it's the nature of the show, and it was in the blogs. I mean, everybody was talking about it, so of course they're going to bring it onto the show. I think it would have just been better for Wendy just to speak on it for real, like, okay, I'm gonna tell you guys, this came up. Yes, it did. It did cause issues because I was like, oh my gosh, is this true? But I talked to my husband, and you know what? I trust him. We've never had issues. Everything is fine. I can't believe these blogs are so reckless. They don't think about me and my husband. I have young children. They don't think about them. And like, she could have did all that, but instead she's going into this being angry. And I can totally understand why you would feel angry about it, but I don't know why. I feel like it's just misguided. I feel like you can channel that energy elsewhere, because her reacting the way she's going to react, it brings drama. So I'm here for it, right? Who knows? Maybe Wendy and Eddie leaked this false information themselves, so they have drama on the show. But I don't know. I just think there's maybe other ways to handle certain situations. I just feel like we're gonna see how it's gonna play out, but she may potentially be blowing everything up out of proportion. I do think, like I said before, I don't necessarily think this is why we're seeing a change in her behavior because her husband's cheating on her. Like, I don't believe that. I just think it's more so of, this is her second season. A lot of people make comments on her looks, so she's just trying to upgrade. And the world we live in, like, everybody's getting BBLs. You have the Instagram filters and all these things, and like, people are doing a lot to their bodies. They're modifying their bodies. I feel like this is the norm now, especially if you're on television. So I don't really think it's so shocking. I mean, there's always been pressure on women to have a certain look, and I feel like this is just Wendy falling into that at the end of the day. I don't necessarily think it's about her husband, but we're gonna see how it plays out. So that's everything, guys. See ya.